There's a tragic story unfolding, and I'm doing the video now before we know what happens. Zarley Zalapski was found dead today, and he had a relatively long career in terms of how careers go. I mean, he played 637 games, 99 goals, 285 assists, 384 points. Zarley was pure offense, not great defensively, and known that way, which is why he was involved in trades. He played for the Penguins, he played for the Whalers, the Flames, touch with the Canadians, and then a little bit with the Flyers. He played 12 games for the Flyers at the end of his career. And then he had a decent career in Europe after that. He played right up until 2008, but there's some interesting aspects to this. He was part of the trade. If you're a Penguins fan, he was part of the trade. John Cullen, Zarley Zalapski, and Jeff Parker. Jeff Parker passed away last summer. Jeff Parker was part of the concussion lawsuit against the NHL. His brain has been donated to look and see if he had CTE, which there's a good chance he did. The fact that they were both involved in the same trade, I hope the fact that they both passed away and they came along at that same time. I'm really hoping that what happened with Zarley is just we're looking at natural causes, and it's one of those things that can happen to a man who's, at a certain age. I would hope. But he's only 49, and I never heard anything about Zarley's conditioning or anything like that, and I've never heard anything about any substance abuse issues. I haven't heard it. Doesn't mean it didn't happen, and if I'm wrong, you guys can correct me in the comment section, no problem. But of course, Francis Jennings and Ulf Samuelsson went to Pittsburgh, and that was a massive deal for Pittsburgh, and it kind of sunk Hartford, and they never really recovered from it. Zarley was then part of another big trade. Nylander, so William's dad, James Patrick, Nolan's uncle, and Zarley Zalapski. I spelled that wrong. That's an I, not a Y. Zarley Zalapski go to Calgary for Drury, Ranheim, and Gary Suter, who's the uncle, I believe, of Ryan Suter, to Hartford. So a lot of family of current players here. And then the final trade was he went to Montreal with Jonas Höglund for Valeri Bure, Pavel's little brother, and a fourth rounder who was Sean Sutter. I assume he's part of the Sutter brood from Viking, Alberta. It's a tragedy in that when a guy's at a certain age, I mean, when you hear that somebody's passed on and then you hear that they were in their 80s, you can go, well, they had a good life and everything was fine. But there's something in this generation, and I'm hoping that it's not going to be added on in terms of concussive issues. I don't know of Zarley having concussion issues. Let me take a look here at I had his career numbers up here. Should be able to just click on this and it should bring him right up. Well, he did miss time. He definitely missed some time there. And he missed almost a full season in 96-97. And again, because this is 20 years ago, I don't remember offhand what he was injured with. And then he missed a bunch of games the year after. Again, you want to look at these things and say, well, what happens, but he did only play 2 games that year. Yeah, he didn't play in the minors. I'm looking at hockeydb.com right now. He didn't play in the minors until 97-98. Played 28 games for Montreal that year after playing 35 in Calgary. And then 98-99, he played for Zurich in Switzerland. And then was brought back over by Philly. He didn't last very long in Philly. He played 12 games, 2 assists. He ended up playing in Italy, Sweden. Came back over, played in the UHL in 04-05 for the Kalamazoo Wings. And then he went over to Austria. And then he finished out his career in the Swiss A and B leagues. So it's a long career. And when you look at his stats, you'll notice that he had 20 goals in 91-92. That was, of course, right after he got traded from Pittsburgh. He ended up with 57 points that year. He had 65 the year after, but he posted a minus 34. So again, he posted a lot of points, but he was a defensive liability, which is why he found himself on the market a lot. He got traded to Calgary at the 93-94 deadline, played 13 games for Calgary, had 10 points. The following season, played 48 games. So there's definitely an injury history there. They haven't released, that I've seen, I looked at 3 different websites and different reports. They haven't released yet what happened. And I'm hoping that this was, as I said, natural causes. Everything's tragic but natural. And we've reached that stage. And it's sad. So the NHL world loses a decent NHL defenseman who posted pretty darn good totals. You'd be hard-pressed to find very many defensemen who score more than 100 goals now in the NHL. 384 points is solid for a defenseman, and he did appear in 637 games. So it's easy to remember him as a defensive liability. It's easy to remember him as a postscript in this trade with Pittsburgh that was just a disaster for Hartford. And yet that disaster for Hartford, Cullen had some good years in Hartford, and so did Zalapski. And, what we remember is that Francis and Ulf Samuelsson pushed Pittsburgh over the edge, and they won the Stanley Cup back-to-back years, largely on the back of that move. But, for the family of Zarley Zalapski, my thoughts go out to them. And I really hope, again, this is just... It's tragic. It's a crying shame, and I knew when I heard this today that I had to do a video on it before we go out tonight because it is important. It's not fun to report on, but it is important. And if there's something more to this, I will definitely do a video on that. We can revisit it then. There are uncomfortable topics that face the NHL. There are uncomfortable topics that face all of us as sports fans, but they're important to discuss nonetheless. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. And again, this is just one of those things in the world of hockey that's important to look at and discuss. And again, my thoughts go out to his family and his friends. And it's a shame because 49 is too young. I personally am 44, and 5 years from now, I have every intention to still be as lively and fun as I was 20 years ago. They're opening a Planet Fitness across the street. I have full intentions of having a membership there and being there regularly. So getting some shape back into the shape, and I want to still be in good shape 20 years from now. I don't want people doing videos on me and how, the hockey guy. Anyways, on that note, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you again soon.